Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to continue with my series going forward after PTSD. We're going to cover steps 5 through 8 and this is all in my book, The Blacksmith, if you want more information. And so these things that I'm covering in this going forward series is all things that I did to propel my life forward after I healed my PTSD. So I was in a spot where I had this brand new life. I had no baggage. I had healed my trauma, my anxiety, my PTSD. And so now I wanted to go step out in the world and be successful. So I came up with this whole game plan on how to do that. So let's get into it. We're going to start with step number 5, which is follow up on ideas and look for my opportunities. So the first thing I did was I had to discern what to pursue and then set a course of action. So I figured out, okay, well, what do I want to do? So I figured, I've been through the PTSD, I've been through the trauma, the anxiety, all these things for 20, 25 years. And it was such a big chunk of my life that I was like, there had to be a purpose for it. So I need to do something with it. And so, I figured out, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And how do I want to do that? And I like to write and things, obviously, and it helped me in the beginning when I started writing. So that's what I did. And I set a course of action that way, and I followed through on it. The next thing I did was I took time to investigate all situations and possibilities. So, okay, I want to write a book. I want to get this information out into the world, I guess I should say. How do I do that? Well, I can write a book. I can do a YouTube channel. I can do a blog. I can do articles. I could do radio shows, TV shows, podcasts, whatever it may be. So I looked at all those opportunities and possibilities and situations, and investigated how to do those things. And then I just did what resonated with me, and sort of integrated that all into what I was doing. Step number 6 was I figured that I needed to recognize, acknowledge, and honor my natural talents and abilities and use them to be an inspiration to others. And so that's what I do. Write the books, do the videos, podcasts, radio shows, TV shows, all those things, send out into the world to inspire others, to show people, hey, look, I did it. I healed it, and now I have a successful, happy life. I'm enjoying it. I'm creating things. I'm accomplishing things. I'm helping people, all that sort of stuff. So I did that by indulging in hobbies and interests and pastimes and lines of study that ignited my passion, that got me excited, that made me want to get up and go to work every day and do what I do. Whether it be writing, gardening, camping, hiking, fishing, all these things that I do that inspire me and get me excited, and I go do them. And I put things out into the world and share things that way. And even like now, I'm researching my family history. I'm doing a lot of genealogical research on my family, and I'm also learning about epigenetics in the transference of transgenerational trauma throughout a family lineage, i.e. my own. So these are all things that get me excited. And so I don't need to have a boss. I don't need to have anybody tell me to do it. I just do it because I'm excited. I want to go do it. And after that, I was thinking, okay, now what I need to do is just allow my natural creativity to express what's inside of me. And that's what I do with the books. That's what I do with the videos. That's how I let it all out. And everybody has their own way of expressing themselves, whether it be writing, singing, playing the guitar or some other instrument, painting, drawing, whatever it is. Everybody has a way of doing that. And I just had figured out that mine had to do with writing. And I decided too, while I was doing that I was going to express my truths and all that I do. I mean, I have to. I'm talking about how I healed PTSD. I had to be truthful about it and honest, even though sometimes it was difficult. But that's what helped me heal. So I knew that I had to do that, and that's what I did. And this next part is important. And so what I learned was that I had to look at my life, everything that's happened from the time I was born till now, everything that I've been through, trauma, all these things, and even every day-to-day things that happen, I had to look at it from a higher perspective. And what I mean by that is that I had to look at each situation analytically. So it's almost like if I was removing myself from the situation and looking down on it, say through a microscope or something, and analytically analyzing what is going on in my life, whether it be a present day thing, a present moment thing, or the expanse of my life. And by doing that, I'm keeping out the emotion. I'm keeping out any sort of dogmas, creeds, ideologies, any of those things that I was taught throughout my life that influenced how I thought, how I reacted, how I do things. I kept that out of it and just looked at the situation analytically. And I was surprised at how much I learned about what was going on. In fact, that's a big part of what I did when I was healing my PTSD and specificity, talking about, triggers, things that would trigger a panic attack or something. Whether, by looking at things from a higher perspective, I was able to see, okay, maybe, analyze what was going on and find out, okay, well, it was a color orange that did this, or it was this noise that did that, or this smell kind of thing. So it's very important to look at all situations from a higher perspective. And the last part to this step number 6 was look at ways of expanding what I'm doing and expressing what I'm doing. And that's how I went from writing a book to writing 4 books, working on a 5th book, doing the videos, the blog, the website, newspaper interviews, radio interviews, TV interviews, all those things. So that's what I did. Step number 7. This is important too, and that was that I had to manifest a financial supply. So that came about because I didn't want money to be involved in what I'm doing with my books and videos and things like that. I didn't want me having to worry about making a living or making money affect what I'm doing. I wanted to be able to just do it free and clear and be able to express myself without any of those chains, holding me back. And so I decided I would make my money other ways, so I could be allowed to do this freely. And I'm glad I did that. And I do. I go out and make my money other ways. So one thing that I learned to understand is that my financial needs will be met as long as I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And that being the books and healing from PTSD, living my life as an example to others of how I did it, putting that out into the world, showing people how I did it to help inspire them to go on their own journey and heal. And so as long as I was doing those things, my financial needs were met. Whether it be I stumbled across a book or some information or something that I was able to take and apply to my life and use it to make money, or there were miraculous ways that money just appeared sometimes, or say I was doing something with the stock market or something like that, got some information, or what have you. As long as I was doing what I was supposed to be doing and sharing this information and writing books and all those things just seem to always work out. And when things didn't work out, or something what I perceived as bad happened, I always now take a step back and go, okay, I look at it from a higher perspective and say, what's going on here? Why did this happen? I must have done something. I made a bad choice. What was it? And I go back and look at it and I'll find out, oh, well, yeah, I got off my path. I wasn't doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And life can take you down these rabbit holes sometimes, especially if you're married, you got kids, a career, all those sorts of things. Sometimes you get caught up and you get so busy and you forget about what you really want to be doing or should be doing, and you go down these rabbit holes, and so these things start happening, and it's almost like they're just like roadblocks or road signs or stoplights that say, hey, you're off track here. Let's refocus and get back on track. the last part to step number 7 was I understood that, okay, now that I can manifest the financial supply in my life, I had to be responsible with it, and I had to build a proper foundation to grow from and to move forward with. Because if you don't do those things, especially like with me, if I didn't do those things, you lose the money, you blow it. So you might start off do really good and say, you get 20 grand, and then next thing you know, it's gone because you weren't responsible with it. You didn't set up a proper foundation, things like that. I live off of a budget, and I don't ever spend more than what my budget allows. Everything else goes towards making more money. So, and I've learned to live with less. And, I'm not saying that I'm not comfortable. I'm comfortable. I'm fine. I'm happy. It's just, I realized that I didn't need so much or so many things, and there's ways to cut costs. There's ways to save money, grocery shopping, all those things. So that's what I did with step number 7. The last step number 8, was I had to prepare myself for big life changes that will come. Because if you're doing all these things, these are big things, right? Big things happening in your life. Big changes are going to come. So you have to prepare yourself for that. One thing I did to prepare myself was I understood that all of these changes, whether it be a good change or a bad change, however you perceive it, would have a domino effect in my life. It will affect everything I do, present, past, all those things. And so, understanding that, sort of helps you focus too, because it's like, okay, well, man, if I go through a bad change, or I'm doing something wrong that causes a bad change, this is going to have a domino effect, a lot of other things. So I don't want to do that. And then on the flip side is, okay, I'm going through this great change. It's going to have a domino effect. It's going to affect all these other things in my life in a good, positive way that excites you and motivates you. The next part was that I also understood that, as things change, you do lose some things, whether it's old habits, old ways, of doing things, old ways of thinking, old friendships, old relationships, all those things. A lot of those things do change. Not all of it, but a lot of it does. It happened to me. And so what I understood was, hey, people, I'd get depressed or something, say, oh, this happened. But I realized you can't do that. Okay, it's happening again for a reason, looking at it from a higher perspective. And so when you look at things that way, I'm like, okay, so this is happening for a reason. And what I was able to figure out was that when those things happen, I lost a way of thinking, a way of doing, a way of behaving, a friendship, a partner, whatever it was. That it was simply clearing the way. It was getting rid of the old to make room for the new. And so it's just like cleaning out your closet, right? You got a bunch of old clothes in there. You get some new clothes for Christmas or something, your birthday, and you don't have no room. You got to get rid of the old stuff to make room for the new stuff. And so I realized that I can't lament on the things going away or the things passing, because it had to be done to make room for the new great stuff that was going to come into my life. And so instead of lamenting upon it, I gave thanks to it for its part in my life and what it taught me or what the person taught me. And I thanked them or it, and I moved on. And, I also understood I had to be open about it with all of this, obviously, because, if you hold it all inside, it doesn't work out too well. It manifests itself in bad ways, because it's your brain's way of saying, hello, you got an issue here. We got to deal with it. The next thing was that knowing that there were major life changes ahead of me, I understood that those changes were going to bring about times of upheaval and then transition. So there was some things that brought some pretty big upheavals in my life. Like losing my house, my job, ending up on the street, being in a wheelchair. all these things were major upheavals. And then there were littler upheavals that happened too. And those things still happen. But now, again, looking at it from a higher perspective, I see that, okay, this upheaval, this is happening. It's because things are changing, because they're supposed to change. Whether it's a good change or bad change, I mean, that's up to the person really, based on what you're doing. Are you doing bad things? Are you doing good things? Are you off your path? That kind of thing. And then after this upheaval, that there's always a period of transition into the new, and then you're back on your feet running again. And these upheavals and transitions can be difficult, but when you look at it from this perspective, it makes it a lot easier to handle, because there's a reason for it. You understand what's going on, instead of it just seem like it's coming out of the blue for no reason. So it's a mental thing there. And again, it's all about thinking positive, being positive. The next part was I learned to listen to my guidance, or what I call my intuition. Okay. And so everybody's had that, where their intuition's like, you get this gut feeling, you get this fuzzy or warm feeling in your stomach, and you should do it. Or you get that, or the hair on your arms stands up and you get goosebumps, that sort of thing. And so those things would happen to me when I was doing certain things, or if I had certain ideas. And so I learned to trust that and went with the flow. And every time I do that, it works out. So I sort of call that my internal guidance system, and I taught myself to trust it. And the last part, which is a very important part, and I sort of touched on this briefly, was to always maintain a positive attitude. I know I can hear everybody complaining now, but it is harder to do than it is to say it. But it's a battle, right? You have to fight that battle, and you have to always try to remain positive. I mean, I fall off my path. I fall off track sometimes still too. It's just a part of life. Sometimes, I will have a bad attitude, but I catch myself. I say, okay, Robert, knock that off. Let's get back to positive thinking. And again, it goes back to what I talked about before. If you're positive, you attract positive. If you're negative and think negative, you're going to attract negative. And it's really as simple as that, because we're all comprised of energy. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude the video here. I just want everybody to understand that, I'm just a guy like everybody else. I've been through PTSD and all that for 20, 25 years of my life, lost everything, got it all back, healed it. And I'm just trying to pass on to others through my books and my videos and all the other things that I do, interviews and stuff, what I did in terms of hoping to inspire others to start their own journey. And it's all out there. And most of the stuff is out there for free. I know my books cost money, obviously, but they had to be published and printed and all those things. But you can go to my website, robertsorakijr.com, and I have my exclusive content page there. You can sign up and get all kinds of exclusive content, all my work, everything that I do. That's all free. If you want to contact me discreetly, you can go to my contact page and message me there. All my information about my books is there as well. If you want to check those out, you can, if you so choose, you can purchase them from my website. If not, I have links there for Amazon and Barnes & Noble Nook, where you can purchase them as well. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and please leave your comments below. I always like to get comments. And having said that, everybody be well, and I will see you next time.